Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about how German plurals work. If you learn German yourself, or maybe you know someone who learns German, then you might have an idea of just how weird German plurals can be, especially compared to other languages. Take English for example. You add an S and you're good to go. Girl, girls, boy, boys, woman, women, okay, there is an exception, but that is the exception, and there aren't too many cases of these exceptions. Generally, you just stick an S to the end of the noun, and you're good to go. We can actually do that in German too, by the way. Take, for example, the word Auto, car. Add an S and you get the plural, Autos, cars. That isn't too bad. Let's try again. Foto, photos. Team, teams. Hotel, hotels. Okay, great. Actually, this is so much easier than I thought. Wow. Let's keep going. Arm, arms. Film, films. Actually, it should be Arme and Filme. Okay, so we add an S or an E. Brot, Brots, Brote, Brot. Okay. Bein, Beine. Tag, Tage. Mond, Monde. Sonne, Sonne, Sonnes? No, it's actually Sonnen. You add an N. Kartoffel, Kartoffeln. Aufgabe, Aufgaben. What else do we got? Frau, Frauen. Mann, Manne, Manns? No, it's Frauen and Männer. We're not done yet though. We also have the fun things like computer, staying computer. There is Kind, which turns into Kinder. House turns into Häuser, while Baum turns into Bäume. Did that make you want to learn German? I bet it didn't, but believe it or not, this isn't all completely random. There is actually some rules to this chaos. In their book, Understanding English and German Contrasts, König and Gast summarized a few different ways of forming plurals in German. While there are quite a few different patterns of forming plurals in German, if we take the phonology of a word into account, we can reduce this enormous amount of patterns into just 5 basic types. Don't worry, I'll explain what that means as we go through these 5 different types. The first noun type generally adds an en ending to the word. Mensch, Menschen. Student, Studenten. Frau, Frauen. For the noun Stunde, however, you only add an n, so that it becomes Stunden. The same goes for Aufgabe, Aufgaben, Gruppe, Gruppen, Frage, Fragen. You might notice that all these words end in the same letter E, which might lead you to think that that might be the reason for just adding an N. That is pretty close to the truth, but let's take for example the word Kartoffel. To form the plural, we add just an N, even though Kartoffel doesn't end in an E. The same goes for Ampel, Ampeln, Gabel, Gabeln. The deciding factor here is not the letter E, but the presence of a schwa sound in the last syllable of the word. Let's break that down. A schwa sound is essentially an unstressed neutral vowel. It sounds something like A syllable is a unit of pronunciation that has one vowel. You might remember as a kid, you'd find out how many syllables there are in a word by clapping. Rainbow, water. Let's apply these 2 pieces of information to German. Aufgabe has 3 syllables. Aufgabe. The last syllable, b, contains the schwa vowel. So instead of adding an en ending, we add just the n. The same goes for Kartoffel. It has 3 syllables, Kartoffel, and the last syllable contains a schwa. So instead of adding en to form the plural, we add just the n. This process is called schwa deletion, by the way. If we have a schwa in the final syllable, we never add another schwa in the ending. With this explanation in mind, the next noun types will hopefully be a lot easier to understand. Type 2 nouns add just a schwa, which is represented by the letter E. So we get Arm, Arme, Bein, Beine, Brot, Brote. What would be the plural of Mädchen? Just a hint, Mädchen has 2 syllables. Mädchen. There's a schwa in the last syllable and schwa deletion applies. The plural of Mädchen therefore is Mädchen. We don't add anything to the end because if there is a schwa in the last syllable, we never add a second schwa in the ending. And because the ending in this case is just a schwa or an e, we don't add anything to the word. The same goes for Rücken, Rücken, plural, Rücken, Spiegel, Spiegel, plural, Spiegel. The third noun type is a combination of the second type plus umlauts. Umlaut is actually a type 2 noun, so can you guess the correct plural version of umlaut? It would be Umlaute, not umlauts. The more you know. But now, back to the third noun type. For this noun type, you add the e or apply schwa deletion if necessary, just like before. On top of that though, you also add an umlaut. So Stadt doesn't have a schwa, so it gets the e ending. Stadt. Then we add the umlaut. Städte. The plural of Stadt is Städte. Zug. No schwa means we add an e. Züge. Then we add the umlaut. Züge. Apfel. Here, schwa deletion applies because we already have a schwa in the last syllable of the word. That means no e ending, but we still have to add the umlaut. Äpfel. What about Vogel? Same pattern. Already has a schwa, so no e. Add umlaut, Vögel. Moving on to the fourth noun type. The rule states add er ending, then add umlaut if applicable. For example, Wort. Add er ending, Worte. Then add umlaut, Wörter. Haus, Hauser, Häuser. Kind, Kinder. Period. We can't add any umlaut in this noun, so it's just the er ending. The last one is pretty simple. It is by far the easiest rule because you just add an s. Auto, Autos. Lego, Legos. Baby, babies. Nothing else changes and there are no other requirements or rules that apply. With these 5 rules in mind, you are now hopefully better equipped to tackle the German language and to see patterns where others see chaos. I do have to mention that this list is not exhaustive and it doesn't include all the factors that go into forming plural nouns. There is also unfortunately no system, as far as I'm aware at least, to figure out to which noun group a noun belongs. So that is something you'll just have to learn. But at least next time you come across a new noun, you will hopefully be able to categorize it more accurately instead of getting frustrated about yet another weird plural. At this point, I just want to talk about 2 more things that I found quite striking while working on this project. One being the noun's gender and the definite article and the effect of those two. If we look at the nouns Zimmer and Nummer, for example, they have the same final syllable, mehr. Yet the plural of Zimmer is Zimmer, but the plural of Nummer is Nummern with an N. This is because the definite article for feminine nouns is the same in singular and plural. So to avoid ambiguity within the language, we change the plural form of the noun. Die Nummer thus becomes die Nummern. Notice how the article didn't change? For masculine and neuter nouns, however, we already have a singular plural distinction in the 2 definite articles. Das Zimmer becomes die Zimmer, and according to the economy principle, we don't need to mark grammatical categories redundantly within a noun phrase. Okay, I think this is enough talking about German plural nouns for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.